Loki The Trickster Warframe, and regarded by many as one of the more versatile warframes in the game, and shunned by others for not understanding his toolkit. Join me as we delve deeper to find out more. In a game where the current meta is focused around damage and killing enemies as quickly as possible, how does a warframe with no damage abilities at all still stand tall with a meme-worthy title as the master race of warframes? Join me as I show you one of my personal and favourite builds. Do I have your attention yet? Well, I thought I might. Well, just in case you thought that maybe it was something to do with like a simulacrum bug, well, here we are, 118 minutes in, and that is a 21.5 million damage. Juicy red crit. Back in the sim here, this is another 23 mil. That is some consistent juicy red crits. Okay, onward to an example, just to quickly show you that the mods that I'm showcasing in the build are the same as the ones in the video. And well, there is some differences here because later on in the video I will be using a Riven for the dock room, but it is just to enhance range. And right now I have just having to kill myself quickly so that the Naramon focus school will actually work, because once you go into your arsenal, the Naramon, well, your focus trees don't activate until you've died and reset for some reason. Here I am just building up a combo counter as well, so that I can showcase you what this would be like when you're fully into a mission, into a survival maybe. So I'm going to spawn in 20 level 135 corrupted heavy gunners. We're going to be using the comb to strip armor there and immediately fire a barrage of Sinx rounds to proc lots of status effects. There's lots of condition overload procs going on as we jump up in the air and get a headshot slide attack, which is going to give us that big ass damage. Juicy, right? It isn't just the damage that's great here, we also have disarmed the entire map, and we've irradiated the enemies so they're attacking each other, which is going to give us enough time to get all our debuffs on there to hit big damage with condition overload. Anyway, let's move on to the Loki build itself and show you a few alternatives while we're at it. Now stay with me on this one, we're going to be using Speed Holster of all auras. This is going to allow us to switch between the comb and the Sinx very quickly to unleash a vicious payload. We have Vigilante Pursuit for enemy radar to sense more enemies on the map. I'll explain a little bit more later on that. Rolling Guard for survivability. During the time our invisibility is about to go down, we're going to roll to be invincible. And then Natural Talent would help with us casting back into it, invisibility and the disarm. Prime Flow for additional energy so we can keep casting, with Overextended, Augur Reach and Stretch for additional range to counteract the Narrow-Minded, which is going to add duration but at a minus of range. We also have Prime Continuity to get more duration for our stealth as well. Now for Augur Reach you can swap out for, depending on what you're doing, Irradiate and Disarm I use for interceptions. Also, Savior Decoy could be an option you'd like if you plan to do like endurance runs where you're camping in a room with some friends, just in case some of you go down, you teleport back to the decoy. Pushed invisibility, you really want it. I personally outplay the enemies anyway. And Safeguard Switch, just in case you know of that rather nasty Trinity build. I think that was Summit, the YouTuber that released that. Nevertheless, anyway, I use Augur Reach to get as much range as possible, but yeah, do what you like there. Also with Arcanes, if you don't have Energize, maybe try Fury if you have that. It's very good, but then I would recommend, if you don't have Energize, to run Xenuric, which means you'd have to change up the dock room a little bit by taking Weeping Wounds off and adding on a Drifting Contact, perhaps. And here's Rolling Guarding action, just in case you wondered. Moving on to one of the best primary weapons in the game in my opinion, and a weapon I've covered before, but this build is so filthy, it's the comb. So we're going to be using prime point blank for core damage, which is a bit of a given really, I think. Lock and load, which is going to reload the magazine, and considering that we're going to be swapping back and forth between melee and Sinx and comb, this just means you don't ever have to reload. It's amazing. We have Shell Shock and Toxic Barrage for status chance and corrosive, Scattering Inferno to add additional heat and more status chance, with Hell's Chamber for multi-shot, Shotgun Spaz for fire rate, and I have to say, unfortunately, a Riven for this weapon is much preferred, as you can get a 100% status chance before multi-shot mods. This one is over 160 status chance. You only need 120, however, and well, the additional fire rate is just helpful. So happy rolling. And we're going to be pairing this up with the Sinx, another weapon I've covered in my Wukong video if you've seen it. This is another status proccing tool, and we're not even going to add a core damage mod here. We're just going to go for Lethal Torrent and Barrel Diffusion for multi-shot, and a little bit of extra fire rate there as well. We have Frostbite, Pistol Pestilence, and Scorch, and we're going to have Jolt as well. All the 60 status chance dual stat mod cards. Eject Magazine, which one of my subscribers has given me the advice to try this with it, and I have to say it was incredible. It's basically the same thing. When you holster it reloads. And we have Augur Seeker to keep the duration of our status effects. Moving on to my custom Zor, the Dock Room. I'll be covering the parts later, but here's the build. So to get started, we have Tempo Royale as my recommended stance choice. Try the others if you like, but personally this is my favourite. Prime Pressure Point for core damage, and Condition Overload to proc even more, as we're proccing a lot of status effects. We have Maiming Strike to boost our crit chance, with Primed Reach for more range of course. We have Blood Rush for even more crit chance to stack with our combo multiplier, along with Weeping Wounds to add additional status chance. Berserker for a lot of attack speed, and Organ Shatter to bolster our slash procs when they happen. We also have Exodia Hunt, so we can pull enemies together during the ground slams if needed for much needed CC at endgame. It also opens them up to finishes. Now here is the Riven that I've been using in some of my later footage. Like I say, it just increases range, it has slide crit like Maiming Strike, but it also adds an additional toxin effect, which is also going to proc more Condition Overload. And as I said earlier, here are the parts you'll be needing for the Dockroom Zor. So get yourself to Cetus, go see Hawk, and go and get this one building. So I'm guessing that maybe some of you are scratching your heads when it comes to the mods for maybe Loki and the weapons, like such as the Speed Holster and, you know, the Eject Magazine. Trust me, just try it before you criticize, because things play so smoothly. As for playstyle with Loki, you're definitely going to want to keep your distance from enemies, even when they're disarmed, because, you know, they can still catch you with their melees. That's why we have a really high range melee weapon that can proc a lot of damage and status chance. So that's about it for this video anyway. I'm going to leave you with some gameplay here. Big thank you to all the team, John Solo, Phantom, Jonathan, and Cephalon Keeper, you know, on all my subscribers. You guys are continuously just so supportive and keep me in the fresh mind and creative spirit, I suppose. So with all that being said, I do hope you've enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and just remember that these build videos are focused around weapon synergies, and in no way do I actually think that Loki's the one and true master race. All Warframes are viable, and play what you find fun and what works for you. So with all that being said, yeah, ciao for now.